You are at home, and your dog will not stop scratching. Not occasional scratches. Constant, desperate gouging at the skin. Your vet says fleas. Your bank account says you cannot afford it. A single dose of the chemical flea treatment costs $40 to $60. Multiply that across 12 months of prevention, and you are looking at $500 to $700 a year. Now, I want you to sit with this for a moment. There is a powder that costs roughly $1 per application. I have spent the last 18 years testing and refining this method on my own animals. My family has used versions of it for longer than that. This powder is food-grade diatomaceous earth, and I am going to show you how to use it. The mechanism is pure physics, not chemistry. No toxins, no resistance, no surprises. Here is what you will know by the time we finish. You will apply it to your pet's coat within the hour. Within hours, the fleas will be dead on contact. You will understand exactly why this works at a microscopic level, and you will see how to chain these applications across a month to break the flea cycle completely. Stay with me though, because there is one detail about how these parasites hide that most people miss entirely. It changes everything about how you defend your home. The powder you are holding is made from the fossilized shells of single-celled algae. Those shells are composed of silica with microscopic sharp edges, invisible to the naked eye. When a flea touches the powder, those edges slice through its waxy outer layer. The flea loses moisture and dies from dehydration, not from poison, from dryness. Ticks and red bugs die the same way, the same mechanism. Turn your dog over right now and look at the coat. See that? Fleas are already living in there, feeding on blood, laying eggs. But here is where my method begins. Your pet is treated. The powder is doing its work right now on the coat. But here is what most people miss, and it costs them weeks of failure. 95% of the fleas in your home are not on your pet. They are in your carpet, under your furniture, woven into the fibers where you cannot see. A female flea lays 40 to 50 eggs every single day. Those eggs are not sticky. They fall straight off into the environment. Within 2 to 10 days, depending on temperature, they hatch into larvae. Larvae burrow deep into carpet fibers, away from light, where powder on the surface never reaches. This is why treating the pet alone is like mopping a floor while the tap runs. You must saturate every fabric surface where your pet rests, starting today. I identify the hot spot first, the place your pet sleeps or sits most. That spot has the highest density of eggs per square foot. Sprinkle food-grade diatomaceous earth lightly across the entire area, working it deep into the fibers with a brush. Do not dust the surface and walk away. Push the powder down to the base of the carpet. Now move to every other place. Under furniture, along baseboards, into cushion seams. Fleas' larvae hide in seams and under cushions. Surface treatment leaves them alive. Flea eggs accumulate in these zones at shocking density. Scatter the powder into crevices where air does not naturally reach. Leave it undisturbed for at least 12 hours, longer if your home is humid. Moisture makes diatomaceous earth inert. Dry conditions amplify the mechanical kill. After 12 to 72 hours, vacuum thoroughly. When you vacuum, you pull up dead insects, larvae, and eggs mechanically. Empty the bag or canister immediately outside your home. Do not let that debris sit in your house. Vacuuming also vibrates pupae awake, forcing them to hatch into larvae, where the powder can finally reach them. Repeat this saturation every 7 to 14 days for 4 weeks straight. Each cycle catches larvae hatching from eggs that survived the last round. I know 7 days feels aggressive, but pupae are shielded. No powder penetrates their cocoon. And here is where it gets critical. While you are treating inside, something outside is walking toward your door. Your yard is the reservoir where untreated fleas wait. Now your home is sealed, but your yard remains an open door for every flea and tick within a mile. You are standing at your fence line in early morning, and what you cannot see is already walking toward you. A deer passed here last night. I checked the track in the dust near the gate. It carries Ixodes scapularis, the black-legged tick, waiting on its fur for any host that brushes past. A feral cat moved through 6 hours ago, fleas riding its legs, ready to jump 13 inches horizontal in a single leap. The perimeter is where you stop them, before they reach your pet and restart the cycle I just broke inside. Here is what I do. I take my bellows duster and a 4-pound bag of food-grade DE. I wear an N95 mask. Even food-grade powder is dust, and I respect that. Starting at your gate, I create an unbroken line of powder along the ground, following the fence base. Gaps defeat the line. A half-inch skip is all a flea needs to slip through. I move slowly, letting the bellows push the powder into the soil, into the grass roots, into the micro crevices. 2 inches wide, visible as a light gray stripe. That is enough. No piling necessary. Now, I step to the crawl space vents, the foundation cracks, anywhere ground level that connects outside to in. The outdoor doghouse or kennel perimeter gets the same treatment, deep into the corners where bedding edges meet earth. And here's the part most people skip. The wildlife highway, the worn path along your fence where animals cut through. That path is a migration corridor. Ticks, fleas, chiggers all travel it. I dust it heavier because that is where the traffic is thickest. This barrier only works when dry, so I return every 7 days and reapply. After rain, I return sooner. Water breaks the powder structure and the mechanism stops cold. One perimeter means nothing if it is broken. One continuous line means everything. And here is where it gets interesting. The timing pattern I use indoors and out, they work together. The real elimination happens when you synchronize them, and that is what Chapter 4 teaches you. With the perimeter sealed, you now enter the window where timing becomes everything. The flea life cycle is not one wave, it is 4 overlapping waves, staggered by days. Eggs hatch in 2 to 10 days, depending on warmth. Larvae emerge in 5 to 18. Pupae can hide dormant for months. You treated the pet on day 1. You dusted the carpets on day 2. You locked the yard on day 4. But here is where most people fail, and I have watched it happen 100 times. They think the work is done. They relax. They skip week 2. They skip week 3. Then, on day 16, new adults crawl out of pupae that survived the first powder application. Those adults lay eggs. Those eggs hatch, and suddenly the pet is scratching again. The owner thinks the treatment failed. It did not. The owner stopped treating. This is the secret timing pattern I promised you in the opening. The protocol is not a treatment. It is a calendar. Week 1, day 1 through 7, you treat the pet coat and saturate every indoor hotspot where the pet sleeps. Week 2 is the critical rebound window. New adults emerge from pupae. You vacuum daily, reapply powder to carpets and furniture, treat the pet again on day 10. The vacuum removes eggs and stimulates pupae to hatch so the powder can reach them. Do not skip this. Week 3, you repeat the carpet and pet treatment on day 17. The egg-to-larva window has now closed for the first generation. Week 4, final treatment on day 24 catches any late-emerging pupae before they can lay a second generation. You have now interrupted every life cycle stage twice. Staggered populations cannot synchronize. The infestation collapses. I track my own pet on a printed calendar. Day 1, day 10, day 17, day 24. 4 applications, 4 weeks. Done. No chemical residue, no fumigation, no guessing. $1.30 in powder. A calendar. A flea comb to count the decline week by week. That is the entire system. Look at what we have walked through. The powder kills adults on contact. The home becomes a hostile zone where larvae cannot feed. The yard becomes a wall that predators cannot cross. And now the calendar ensures no survivor escapes to restart the cycle. You now have the framework. You know why the timing matters and what happens if you skip it. Here is what I want to know. When you begin this protocol on your own pet, what is the first thing you notice changing? Is it the scratching that stops first, or the flea dirt that disappears from the comb? I read every comment you leave, and I learn from what you see in your own homes. This is the work that saves money, saves suffering, and proves that the cheapest solution is often the one nobody bothered to understand.